Hello, and welcome back to the Aligned with Chloe podcast. I have something that I want to talk about with you today, and it's something that I've been navigating in my life right now. And if you've just been feeling like nothing's working out, you're just kind of stuck in this same loop over and over again, and each path that you take is just crumbling apart. Well, I just want you to know that you're not alone and that I've felt the same way for a long time. But something that I've learned throughout going through all of that over and over again, being stuck in that loop, in that cycle, is that sometimes what feels like is falling apart is actually falling into place perfectly. And sometimes God nudges us and redirects us even when we can't see the full picture yet. And it doesn't feel like it's really working out in the moment, but behind the scenes, it actually is. And so, in this episode, I'm sharing a few things that have helped me in these seasons of uncertainty and some insights that I've learned throughout my own breakdowns and breakthroughs, and just a gentle reminder that you are truly not alone in this. Unfortunately, I know this season all too well. And I think this was really prominent when I was going to college. In my college days, I just felt like I was stuck. I had a complete identity crisis. I didn't really know who I was, and I just wanted to fit in with everyone else. And so I went on that path. But with going on that path, it felt like I kept hitting roadblock after roadblock after roadblock, and nothing seemed to go my way. The people in my life just weren't working out the way that I hoped it to, and I would always think like, "Oh, maybe this time it will be better. Maybe this time." And it wasn't. And I just kept hitting the same thing over and over again until I got to the point where I was like, what am I doing wrong? Like something must be wrong. And during all that, I was falling apart and my grades were slipping when I was in college. I used alcohol a lot to numb what I was experiencing. And so, I saw the breakdown as like something is wrong with me. I'm doing something wrong in my life. And what I didn't realize was that there wasn't anything wrong with me in what I was doing. It was the path that I was on was wrong. And unfortunately, we have to get really low and sometimes hit bottom. I always say, like, you're never just gonna hit rock bottom once, you're gonna hit it multiple times, and that's okay. Because each time that you do hit rock bottom, you learn. You learn something new. You gain a new piece of wisdom. And throughout the 4 years of my college experience, I can definitely say it was probably one of the hardest 4 years of my entire life. And I felt completely alone. And there were so many times where I would just be alone in my car and just completely melt down because I just felt like I didn't have anyone because I kept hitting the same roadblock over and over again. My life was it just felt like it was crumbling. But little did I know throughout all the crumbling and the breaking down, it was actually building me into who I am today. And I always say those 4 years of my life were really hard, a really hard 4 years, but I learned so much through that. And I found God too through all of that. And it's unfortunate that sometimes that we have to be in our lowest days to seek God. And I've learned that we should always be seeking God in everything, even in the happy parts of our life. We should be thankful and grateful and saying thank you to God for giving us this beautiful life. But when we are going through those really hard times in our lives, that's kind of when we seek God the most because we just don't know what else to do. And I certainly didn't. I had no one really to turn to give me guidance and direction. And, thank God I had such a supportive family. But when you are alone and you feel so isolated, I needed to turn to something else. And that's when I found God. I sat in silence and I broke down more times than I can count, and I just remember asking God over and over again, like, God, like, just guide me. Just guide me. Just give me the strength to get through this. I don't understand why this is happening to me, why the same thing keeps happening to me over and over again. The lesson that I kept repeating over and over again, I wasn't learning it. And unfortunately, that lesson gets harder and harder if you're not learning it. And God will keep giving it to you. And sometimes it takes us to get really, really low to finally learn the lesson. I think being in your 20s too is a very interesting time in your life because you don't have a map or a plan given to you telling you what you should do. And so when you are breaking down and falling apart, it can feel really frustrating and confusing. And you might feel like you have loss of control over everything in your life. But if you're listening to this, I just want you to know that you do have the control in your life. You do have the control of the actions that you're going to take, the behaviors that you have. And the reason why we get out of control sometimes is because we don't feel like we have direction. And when I didn't feel like I had direction, God gave it to me. But not in the way that I thought. God gave me direction through a deep inner knowing. And this knowing, you can only experience this knowing by getting to know yourself. And I got to know myself pretty quickly once I stopped drinking and I stopped doing the same cycle over again, like, being with the wrong people who didn't make me feel good, drinking to fit in, not pursuing what I want to pursue in my life, just being who I think the world needs me to be. I was living out of alignment, out of complete alignment in my life, and that's why I kept running into the same thing over and over again. But you learn throughout all of that, oh, okay, I've been down this road. I know this doesn't work. You learn that misalignment often shows up in your life as chaos. Nothing is just going right. You think you're on the right path and then you're not, and you keep hitting the same block and the same block. But what I didn't realize going through all of that is that God had a way better plan for me. God's plan for you is so much bigger and better than you could have ever imagined. And why is it that we have to go through these hard seasons to learn that? But whenever I come out of a hard season in my life, I always look back and just think, that was worth it. Yeah, it was hard. It was really hard. But I learned so many different things about myself. And so the next time that I experience this, I know exactly what I need to do. But I wouldn't have known what I needed to do if I didn't go through that experience, even though it was really uncomfortable and hard. So I want to give you a few things that have helped me personally in hopes of helping you if you feel stuck or just in something in your life that just feels out of alignment and you're just being called towards something else. Maybe you're being called towards, leaving a certain friend group or maybe leaving a job. I mean, it could be really anything in your life. Maybe moving to a different location. Maybe the place that you're in right now is just like you're over it and you want to go somewhere else and experience something new. Listen to that. You will feel that your body has this energetic yes that you can learn. And when you feel a yes, you feel your body pull. But when you feel a no, you feel that in your body as well, and you kind of start to pull back. Notice that with people and places and things in your life that feel misaligned. Does that feel like a yes in my body, or does it feel like a no? Because the body always knows, and it will tell you, and that's kind of that gut feeling that you get. That's your intuition. And I've talked about this before in other episodes, and really learning how to tapping into that intuition will save you so much heartache and stress in your life, because most of the time we overthink it, because the overthinking thoughts are that loud and that intuition piece is that quiet. And I truly believe that intuition is God. God has given us this gift to be able to sense things and to feel things. And when we are in aligned with that, and when we can tap into that, we can be the fullest authentic expression of ourselves. But when we're not, when we're trying to mold ourselves into a version of what we think others want us to be, then it creates this like resistance and friction within your body, and it's this energetic no, and you tighten up. You might tighten up when you're around different people. That's for a reason. Your body knows who feels safe and who doesn't. So paying attention to that is really, really important. And it's something that you don't just, figure out overnight. This is a practice that you have to do consistently. And I didn't do this consistently in the beginning. I was kind of forced to do it because I've always known I've had this intuition about certain things in my life, but I just overthought it because I was like, okay, other people aren't doing that. That's not what other people are doing. Come on, like you need to be doing this instead because everyone else is doing this. Why would you think that what you think is right? And that now, like, saying that sounds wrong, because if those are your thoughts and those are your intuition, then that's the only thing that is right, and that's perfect. When we go against that, we become misaligned in our life, and different facets and areas in our life can become misaligned. And I like to think of your life as, you have these water towers, and these water towers are all filled with water, and some of them sometimes are a little bit lower than others. But it's important that we have all of our towers balanced for the most part. Sometimes we can't get them all fully balanced and aligned. So you might, love the relationship that you're in, but you hate the job that you do. Well, those water towers are going to not be aligned, and you're going to feel that in your life. Even though that relationship is giving you so much happiness and love, the job is just like draining and sucking the soul out of you. And in return, that might affect the relationship. So that relationship piece might drain a little bit, might go down. But when we can fill the other tower back up, then others can come up as well. So maybe you realize that job, okay, that's really not in alignment with what I want to do. How can I be in alignment with what I want to do? What is it? What are my strengths? What is it that I want to do? What lights me up? What am I passionate about? And then figure it out from there. And these water towers, you want them to be here. You want them to be balanced. You want them to be aligned. Hence the podcast name. That word is stuck with me. Aligned. When you're in alignment, mind, body, and soul, beautiful things start to happen in your life. I truly believe that. So how do you really navigate without spiraling? Because that was something that I used to do quite often, quite frequently. I would be stuck in that spiral. And something that really helped me was just returning back to the basics. Just journaling my thoughts out at night, especially at night. We don't realize how much we carry throughout our days. And then at nighttime, we wonder why we can't really sleep because our mind is just going. So something that has helped me is just writing a page at night. It doesn't need to be 10 pages, 5 pages. It could just be one simple page in your journal, just all of the thoughts, emotions, and feelings that you've had throughout the day and what your discoveries that you've experienced, some insights that you've had. And when you look back on those, you can see if there's some things that keep coming up over and over again. Note that. Pay attention to that. It's there for a reason. If it keeps coming up in your journal, it's like, okay, this thing keeps coming up and I don't like it. What needs to change? And something as simple as just going for a walk outside too, without your phone, just no distractions, can be incredibly beneficial, and just reconnecting with nature too, because we are all nature. Our bodies are created from nature. We are connected. We are one with nature. So I think being in that is the best because we can just truly just let go and just be in the stillness. I would go on my nature walks when I was going through a really hard time, and I would walk like 5 miles a day because it was just so like therapeutic for me. And it helped so much. I gained so much clarity in my mind and just really released a lot of mental turmoil on that walk. Like there was so much therapy going on in that walk and I had no idea. Whenever I don't do my walks now, I'm always like, okay, I needed that because it always helps. So having these tools in your toolbox, I like to say, whenever you feel like everything is just breaking down, doing one of those, doing one that works for you. Another one is just connecting with the breath. The breath can give us so much information on what's happening in our internal world, and it helps us tap into this world easier and faster than we would in a state of panic and stress. And then that keeps us stuck in that same spiral. But taking a few moments to pause with yourself, to check in with yourself, to check in with the breath, and asking, what am I feeling right now in this moment? And feel it fully. And emotions and feelings really only last 60 to 90 seconds, and they do eventually pass. But it is hard sitting with it in the moment. I do understand that. And another thing is to get curious. So whenever you're asking yourself, what am I feeling in this moment? What could this be showing me? What in this in my life that is just shattering me and breaking down, what is that telling me? Is there something that I need to do to change this? And journal that, write that down. And sometimes you may not have the answer immediately. Sometimes you might have to ask that question over and over and over again. And I still do. I ask God, I'm like, God, what is this showing me? What does this mean in my life? And you may not get the answer right away, but eventually it will come. And it just kind of comes naturally and at ease. And that's when you know it's from God because it just comes in this state of flow, this ease. It's not forced. God's direction is often redirection. And for me, I've experienced so much redirection in my life, I can't even count. But a good example of this was whenever I graduated college, I thought I was supposed to work this corporate job and and I was redirected pretty quickly because nothing was working out and it wasn't aligned in my life. And I didn't understand it at the time and I was like, "Oh, I'm supposed to be doing this, right?" But no, I was redirected. And now I'm living in alignment with my life. And I didn't know that at the time because it looked so chaotic and so messy. But eventually I learned that, oh, all of that was literally supposed to happen exactly the way that it did. I couldn't have planned any of that. And a lot of things come in the ways that you least expect. And sometimes that's the most beautiful way. So I just want you to know that if you're in a phase in your life right now, in a season of your life where you just feel like everything is crumbling and falling apart. You don't understand what the next step is. You don't have any direction right now. You're just going through it. I just want you to know that that's okay. And that's all a part of life and this experience that we're all having together. That we're not going to have it figured out. And if anything, you know that you're on the right path when you can't see the path. When you are in this state of uncertainty. You may be falling apart and breaking down, but little do you know what's going on behind all of that. God is always working into your favor. And keep seeking God. Sometimes things might be going really well in your life. And we forget about God. We're like, I'm good right now, God. But to keep seeking Him, even in the good moments, and especially when things get tough. It's hard to trust the next step in your life because you can't see it. But that's truly faith. That's when you have an immense amount of faith in your life that everything is working out in your favor, even though we can't see it clearly. That's what keeps me going every day, is just having faith in God and trusting that even in those hard points, it's all going to work out. And before we close today, I want to walk you through a little visualization. And visualize yourself right now walking on a path. Could be outside. It could be anywhere. And imagine this glowing light around your body. And this light is warm. And you feel it trickle down from your head to your shoulders, down to your hips, and to your feet. You might even feel a little tingling sensation throughout your body. And imagine that light oozing off your body onto the path, showing you your next step. And you can say to yourself out loud, I am safe, and I'm trusting the process, even if I can't see it clearly yet. I'm trusting it. So I hope this episode today was helpful for you, and it maybe gave you a little bit more ease and peace and guidance into your day, because that's all I'm here for. And if I could inspire one person out there, then I am truly forever grateful. So thank you so much for being here with me today. And if you want to stay connected, you can follow me on Instagram. It's at Chloe with 2 E's .Marshall. And I cannot wait to see you in the next one.